Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Maid Summit. I am Courtney Wisely. I am the founder of RescueMyMaidService.com, as well as the company owner of Magic Maids here in Midwest Missouri. And I used to be a part of the Zen Maid team. That's actually how I got my start in this industry many years ago. So I love this Maid Summit. I love that they do this every year. And I hope that you guys have learned a ton and have seen some awesome presentations. Today, I am going to be talking about training hacks while you train your cleaners. So we are not diving into tech and automation, which is my usual go-to. That's what I love. But this year, we actually came out with a really cool training system and videos and all of that. So we're actually going to go through all kinds of training hacks, free stuff that you guys can take with you. And then we'll talk a little bit at the end about Cleaning Business Nation. So let's get started. 10 training hacks for training your cleaners, presented by moi. Hack number 1, promote the right fit. So for those of you that have used the DISC assessment in the past, it is a super cool tool, and it's a way to kind of gauge the personalities of the cleaners that you're hiring. So personally, we have always found that C's and S's work well with our company, and I'm going to dive into a little bit of what that looks like. But basically, you want to make sure that you are hiring people that are dependable and thorough, kind and respectful in conversation, patient, knowledgeable, and then we're going to go into the DISC assessment here. So one of the resources that you'll get from this talk is the DISC assessment. So the way that you do this is you ask 2 questions, very simple questions. Are you more this or are you more that, right? So I'll show you how this works. If you scroll down in your little resource, you'll see the DISC here. And this also, by the way, can be an extremely long testing process, but you can simplify it, right? So I put these questions directly on their application just to get an immediate kind of snapshot of the kind of person that they are. So as you can see, DISC stands for dominance, influence, steadiness, and conscientiousness. That's a hard word to say. So what you do is you say, are you more active, fast-paced, assertive, dynamic, and bold? Or are you more thoughtful, moderate-paced, calm, methodical, and careful? Whichever one they say, you're going to make a little dot. So let's say they're more fast-paced, assertive. Let's say they're up there. So we just put a little dot right here. Then you're going to ask, are you more questioning, logic-focused, objective, skeptical, and challenging? Or are you more accepting, people-focused, empathizing, receptive, and agreeable? So let's say that they agreed with this side. So then we would put the dot right here on this line. So then you're just going to connect the 2 dots. So it was up here and over here, boom, boom. And that means that they're an I. So that is how you figure out what quadrant they're in the DISC. Now, as I said earlier, I personally have better success with C's and S's. What I have personally found in my cleaning business is that the D's are the ones that are pretty assertive. They're the ones that will, maybe cause some drama with the ranks. Also, if you ever have had a cleaner try to steal your clients and start their own business, chances are they're probably a D. That's where a lot of entrepreneurs live, is in the dominant category. So just throwing that out there. Not everybody's like that, but that is technically a dominant trait, is to be an entrepreneur. So influencers, they are typically the ones that want to chat a lot. So I have found that the I's are the ones that they don't want to get off their phones whenever they're cleaning, or they talk too much to the clients and they don't get their work done, or they're talking too much to the other employees. So for me, I stick with the C's and the S's. The S's are the ones that want to clock in, clock out, go home. They love the steady, reliable paycheck. They just want to, come in, do their job, and go home, no drama. So I love the S's. And then the C's are the ones that are really attentive to detail. They want to make sure that everything is very, very clean, and they want to make sure that everything's perfect. Now, you have to be careful with C's because sometimes they're a little too attentive. So, you have those cleaners where you're like, okay, you've been in there for 45 minutes. It's clean. It's fine. But these are usually your really, really good cleaners. They have a high attention to detail. So for me, C's and S's are where it's at. But it also depends on your personality, and it depends on the personality of the other cleaners in your crew. So if you read through these, you'll kind of see the kind of personality traits that they have and who they work well with and that kind of thing. And you can also see what they're motivated by. So it'll help you as a boss discover ways to encourage them throughout their employment with you. So definitely take a look at this. This is a free resource in the resource folder that you guys should have access to. And then let's go ahead and move on to hack number 2. Hack number 2, have a solid plan or orientation through training. So what do you need to cover in orientation? Well, a lot of stuff. Cleaners that are brand new, that have never cleaned before for another company or anything like that, they're going to have a ton of questions, or they're not even going to know what to ask because they've never experienced this. So it's your job or the trainer's job to go through all of the what ifs, all of the things that they're going to come in contact with that they're going to have questions about. If you prepare them properly before they actually get in the field, it's just going to help a ton. So explain to them, what do they need to know about training? How does it work? How long does it take? How do they communicate with you? What do they do if they have questions? How do they access all the forms? All of that should be covered in orientation. Who will be training them? Introduce them to their trainer, explain, how they work and how you can communicate with them. What are the expectations throughout training? What are they expected to be able to do once training is over? Some of you guys might have a 3-week training program. Some of you, like me, I just have a 1-week training program. So at the end of a week, I expect them to be able to go clean a house by themselves without any issues. That's my expectation. I realize that not everybody does that. Everybody's different. That's perfectly fine. Whatever it is, they need to understand what they're expected to do. There's nothing worse than not knowing what is expected of you at your job, because you're never going to feel like you're succeeding, or you're just going to automatically feel like you're failing because you don't know if you're doing a good job or not. So make sure that's all clearly explained. How do they find out how they're performing? So obviously they're all going to be chomping at the bit for feedback from their trainer. That's typically what we see is they want to know if they're doing a good job. They want to know if they could do better. All of those things need to be explained to them and communicated with them throughout training and at the end of training and ongoing. So I think a lot of people forget that after they get out of training, they're not done training. They're done with the basic part of training, but it takes a couple months for them to really get it all down, right? So make sure that you're having consistent check-ins with them. Make sure that your trainer is consistently keeping an eye on them and monitoring their progress and making sure that their speed is improving and their quality is improving and all of that. So these are things that you should have written down and go over with them in the orientation process. Now, we did put another resource in here. It's called the Training Plan Worksheet. So if you want to look through this, you can check out just some explanations, some bullet points of things that you should go over so that they don't get confused, how the infield training works, communication, getting feedback, all of that. This is really just a framework to give you something to go off of to create your own training plan. So this is in your resource folder. Feel free to utilize. You'll just make a copy to your own drive and then you can edit it. So if you go to File and you say make a copy, then it'll copy over to your Google Drive and then you'll be able to edit everything there. All right, hack number 3, communication. So you want to make sure to set and define your probation period and make sure they understand it. So if you don't have a probation period, I would recommend this. It's a really good way to make them realize that it may or may not work out, and it doesn't necessarily mean that they're a terrible person or a terrible employee. It just might mean that they're not a good fit for your company. So we've had cleaners that, even though they're great cleaners, they actually are not a good fit because of maybe their communication style with our other employees, or maybe they have a really terrible availability or something like that. So people like to lie in their interviews. We all know this. And sometimes they'll be like, oh yeah, I'm open Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. And then you get into it and they're like, but actually I don't have a babysitter, which obviously these are things that you should be covering in your interview. But again, people lie. So you want to make sure that they understand that not only do they have to be a fabulous cleaner, but they also have to fit in with your culture. They also have to, go by the rules and prove that they are open to feedback and open to progress and all of that. So make sure that you explain to them what that probation period is. Ours is 30 days, so we just have a 30-day probation period. This also depends on your state. So if you're in an at-will employer state, then that means that you can fire anybody at any time. If you're not, then obviously you have to have kind of a paper trail of what's going on, if you do want to let them go. So check with your state rules, figure out what works for you guys, but just make sure that if you do have a probation period, to explain it. Clearly communicate expectations during training. We touched on this, but make sure that they are not just listening. Like, make sure that they are asking questions and answering your questions whenever you ask them to repeat things back to you so that you know that they do actually understand it. And then checking in on them throughout training. So this can be done multiple ways. You can have feedback forms with your trainer, which we do that. We have training feedback forms that our trainer fills out about the trainee. We also have forms that the trainee fills out telling us how training is going and how the trainer is doing and all of that. We want feedback from both sides, right? We also have the surveys that the clients fill out. So obviously that can happen after their training is done. Their first house is on their own. You definitely want to make sure that you get surveys back from those clients. But you also want to make sure that if you're using test houses or anything like that, that you're getting that feedback from those clients, because that's what the whole point of it is they should be telling you how that trainee is doing in their home. We use Discord for our communication. We used to use Slack. Slack got expensive, so now we switched to Discord and we have no problems. We love it. So whichever one you guys decide to go with, it is really awesome to have a tool like that. It's just a communication tool, and we have channels for everything. We have a training channel. We have a secret training chat that's just with myself, my office manager, and my trainer. But then we also have another training chat that the trainees go into with the trainer and us, and that way they can ask all their questions in that channel in a safe space. The other employees are not in there, so they don't have to feel dumb or anything like that, and it's just a safe space for them to ask questions. So just make sure that you have all possible open lines of communication throughout training, or else they're going to feel completely lost and like they don't matter. Hack number 4, structure your in-field training. So if you can use the same houses for training, that is fabulous. If you have a little subset of clients that is totally fine with you using their house as a training house, it makes things so much easier because you know exactly how that house works and how what to check in there for the trainee. If you can't do that, then you check in with your clients that you have and see if you can kind of rotate and do that. Or you can use your own house or friends' houses or, people that you know that are just fine with that. And it's hard in the beginning because sometimes you might have to eat some money just to make this happen. But if you're already in an established company and you have a ton of clients to pick from, then that should be no problem at all. Usually what we do is we just send our trainees with our trainer on our trainer's normal houses. So our trainer's houses are aware that their cleaner is a trainer. And so they will be bringing trainees in. Now that usually is perfectly fine because they're happy that we have a rockstar cleaner in their home. Obviously that's our trainer. We're going to make our rockstar cleaners our trainers, right? So we want to make sure that the trainer is allowed to use those houses to train, or else then they don't get they don't get that person for their house. So it's pretty easy. Don't make a deep clean their first house. It will overwhelm them. They will come in and be like, oh my God, this must be what it's always like. And they might bolt. Okay. So make sure to wait on that a little bit. I usually start with recurring houses at least for like 4 or 5 days. And then I'll throw a deep clean on at the very end so that they can kind of see, what the other side of the coin is, so that they're not scared off. Have your communication system in place, of course, as we talked about. Define what they will learn and when. So your trainer does not need to feel lost either. We want your trainer to have a solid game plan going into training. So if you can sit down with them and physically say, okay, on day 1, you're going to cover kitchens and bathrooms. On day 2, you're going to cover dusting and floors, or however you want to do it, but just have a system in place so that your trainer has a consistent way to train the employees every single time. The worst thing is whenever you let the trainer decide how they want to do training, and then they don't have a really solid system in place. They just kind of wing it. And then every single employee that goes through it is being trained completely differently. And you don't want that. You want consistency across the board. So you decide that consistency. Your trainer will oblige. And from there, everybody should be trained the same way. Hack number 5, automate as much as possible. Obviously, I am a huge fan of automation. For those of you that know me, that is what I do. I automate everything. It makes life easier and it makes you have more free time. So if you have welcome emails for your new employees with general info on it about, who's in charge, the ranks, the contact information, which softwares to sign up for, like ZenMate or Discord or whatever you guys are using with the links to do that. Any kind of forms that you need them to fill out, that can all be put in a Google Drive folder if you want to do that. And all of that can just be automated in a welcome email. You can templatize that. In Google, if you use Gmail, you can type out the email, put in like a hyperlink to the Google Drive folder with all the forms, and then you can click on Save as Template from the little menu. And then you'll just have that every single time. Now, if you want to go like deeper into that and have it all automated completely, then you might want to look into the Digital Systems Bootcamp, which is my automation course, and all that stuff just magically happens. But you can also do a pre-recorded video to learn how to view jobs or other digital job information. This is a really cool tool for new employees to be able to watch a little video. And it's also a way for you to set the tone of your relationship, of the culture of your company, etc. So if you can record yourself being like, "Hi, I'm Courtney. I'm your new boss. This is how we do things at Magic Maids." And then you can share your screen and be like, "This is how you're going to access a job. This is, where you're going to look to see what kind of cleaning it is, and if you need to bring a vacuum," or all of these types of things. You can record that and then just have a little welcome video. Put that in the welcome email, and then they will be onboarded and they'll already know what the tone of the company is, which they should have had kind of a feeling of that from the interview, but it's always a really good idea to just have something like that. So again, you can just pre-record it, put it in that email, and you can house it in Google Drive, and then they can just watch that. So definitely, this is one of my favorite hacks, obviously automation, but this is a really, really great way to make sure that every new employee onboards to your company in the way that you want them to. Hack number 6, keep trainer morale up. So the trainers are going to go through ups and downs during training. They're going to feel really, really great whenever they have a new trainee and they're like, "Oh my gosh, they're amazing. They jumped right in. They listened to everything I said. There was like no issues with their quality." They're going to be super excited. They're going to look at their trainees like they're little ducklings, right? And they're going to feel kind of like a mom. They're going to be like, "That's my little trainee. I made them like this." So that's wonderful. But then they're also going to have the trainees that suck, right? And then they're going to beat themselves up about it. So it's your job to make sure that they understand that is a normal part of the industry. Not everybody is a rock star, and some people have better skills than other, and that's okay. And so they have to understand that all they can do is their best, right? They can't force the other people to be something that they're not. So check in with your trainers regularly to see how the training program is working for them, how they are communicating with the trainees, if they feel like there's something you could be doing to make their lives easier, or if there is something that you could be, that you could create to make a system that they might need. That's what your job is, okay? Don't just let them go and never check in with them again. And if they have a bad trainee, make sure that you talk about it with them, because they might have seen something else in them that maybe could work for a different thing in your company, or maybe they catch something that you didn't catch in the interview, and you need to listen to them because you didn't put them in the role of trainer if you didn't trust them, right? So listen to them and check in with them all the time. Be patient with them. Obviously, these are going to be your rock stars. That's why they're trainers. They're going to be moving fast because that's what rock stars do. They're efficient and they just get in and they bust it out. But they have to learn to slow down to train. So that is something that not everybody can do. I've had quite a few rock star cleaners that make terrible trainers because they're just not that kind of person. They don't want to slow down. They don't want to explain things step by step. They don't want to have that like peppy attitude and get the trainee to be all excited. Like they're just not. They just want to get in and get out, like my C's and my S's, like I talked about earlier. So you have to find the right type of personality to be a trainer, but they also need to be a rock star cleaner. So make sure that you're patient with them, and you might have to train your trainer on how to train, which is actually the second course that we're going to be coming out with next year, which is how to train the trainers. So that is hack number 6. Just make sure your trainers are always happy. Hack number 7, practice what you preach. If it's you or your trainers doing the training, make sure your policies are being followed. Trainees are always watching what you do. This is so, so true. So if you have trainers that are not following your policies and they're training these people and they're like, "Well, technically we're supposed to do it like this, but I actually think it's better to do this, or this works better for me." The trainees are going to do whatever the trainer says. So you have to be aware of how your trainers are presenting your policies. They have to be following what you put into place. Otherwise, it's basically just crumbling your company from the inside out, right? So make sure that you are checking in with your trainers and like quiz your trainers on what they're doing. Give it a couple months, then come back to them and quiz them again on the same thing and make sure it's the same answer, or else there's an issue, because they will have forgotten what your policy is if they've changed it on their own. So leading by example is huge here. The trainees are going to do whatever they see. They're going to be like, "Well, if Jessica says that's okay, she's my trainer, she's my boss, so that must be fine." Well, it's not fine. So, and they're not even going to know if it's a big deal. They're not even going to tell anybody because they're just, that's what they were told. So this is super important. Be thorough in explaining why things are done the way they are when you're questioned about it. If your trainer is like, well, it's a lot easier to just jump on top of this cabinet right here to get the top of the fridge. Well, the trainee is probably going to say, oh yeah, that is easier. But obviously that's not okay. And the trainer needs to understand why that's not okay. It's not okay because if you fall and hurt yourself, then we're liable. So we have to use, a 3-step ladder. We use a 3-step ladder, but you might use a 2-step ladder, whatever it is. That's why. So they need to understand the why behind the policies, or else they're not going to believe them and they're not going to follow them. So this is definitely a huge one. And you as the owner, if you set policies in place, you can't break them either. So I've seen a lot of owners that are like, oh yeah, I've got all these policies, but I don't really do it like that. Well, then those aren't your policies. So make sure that you are actually following what you say. Hack number 8, don't overwhelm them. New hires have to have a ton of info, but you don't want to overwhelm them all at once. This happens so often. You guys will just throw all of this stuff at a new person and you'll be like, these are our scopes of service and this is how we handle this and this is blah, blah, blah. And then they get home and they're like, I can't even process everything that happened today. They're not going to retain that. They're going to retain like 10% of what was taught to them. So you have to break it into smaller pieces and then quiz them on those pieces as you're going throughout. They'll retain it much better that way. If you spread it out over a week or 2 weeks or however long your training is, I promise you this will end in better results and your trainees will be solid employees by the end of it. Make sure that they have the pertinent info when they need it. So don't put them in a bathroom or kitchen before you actually train them on a bathroom or kitchen. It's a waste of time. You don't want them to, they're going to do everything wrong. And then you're going to be like, I don't understand why they didn't do that. Right. Well, because they weren't trained properly. So make sure not to rush it and do it in pieces. Have that solid plan in place of when you're going to train on this room and when you're going to train on this concept and all of that. And make sure that you're quizzing them throughout, or your trainer is quizzing them throughout to make sure that they're actually retaining the information that they are learning. Hack number 9, get feedback. Don't be scared of feedback. Feedback is good. Feedback is how we learn and it's how we improve things. So make providing feedback easy. Have a little form. You can make it a Google form. We have ClickUp forms because all of our system is in ClickUp. But have it accessible in Discord. You can have the link in there. Send it to them in an email. I don't care how you do it, but make sure it's a super easy way for them, or you can even use paper, I guess. But if you want to use paper, you can. Make sure that they have an easy way to give you guys feedback, the trainees and the trainers. If it's easy for them to do it and if it's consistently being asked of them, then they're going to do it. We have training feedback forms going out every day in training. And then we have it dripped after that up until like their first 6 months. So we have it like every week for a little bit, and then we lower it to 2 weeks, and then we go to a month, and then it kind of drips off from there. And then we have annual feedback. But update them on any updates and changes to the training program and why it's been changed on and updated if you do decide to implement something new, like Cleaning Business Nation, like Cleaning Tech Bootcamp, what we just came out with. If you guys start doing something like that, make sure to have a sit down with your trainer, explain why you're changing the process, how it's going to improve it, and give your trainers an opportunity to give their feedback to you about the whole process, because they're the ones that are out there doing it, right? So they might have insight that you don't have because you're not out there doing it. Things change, people change. The types of people that we're hiring now are nothing like what it was like 10 years ago, right? So, you're going to have to adjust and improve your training to fit these new types of people that we're hiring and just the world that we live in now. So be open to that, be okay with that, and I promise you that it will all work out in the end if you do. And hack number 10, utilize training videos. This is a great introduction to professional cleaning if you have videos that show them why we do things the way we do, the different concepts of cleaning, the different don't use this on this and use this on this. All of that is going to help the trainees be more confident during in-field training. It's going to give them a leg up on everybody else, and they're going to go in ready to rock. So in my personal opinion, I think that you should be showing them training videos before they actually go in field. That's how we do it, and it works amazing. Every time that we've done it like this, especially since I literally just released the Cleaning Tech Bootcamp, my trainees go through the Cleaning Tech Bootcamp, then they go into infield, and then they come out and they're like, I had such an easy time in the field because I was already prepped and had all this knowledge going into it. So it just makes them able to retain so much more in the in-field training because they already had this foundation built. It's a great resource for meetings, games, or even retraining. So if you want to have training videos that you show at every team meeting, if you want to like highlight a video or go over a concept or just retrain on something that maybe everybody's sucking on based on the survey scores or whatever, this is a great way to do that. So that is the 10 hacks for training your cleaners while they are in training. So I will take a moment here to talk about Cleaning Business Nation because this is very much to do with what we're talking about. And I am so proud of my team and what we have come up with. And we've already had, I don't even know, we've had over 1,000 cleaners, I believe, go through this training program in the industry. It's just crazy. So, and everybody's loving it. So let's take a moment to talk about Cleaning Business Nation. So Cleaning Business Nation is a membership that you can join if you would like, and it comes with the Cleaning Tech Bootcamp, but it comes with tons of other things as well. It's basically, if you have a maid service, this might be something you would be interested in. So we'll kind of touch just briefly on the different levels. We've got basic, pro, and premium, and you can go to rescuemymaidservice.com/CBN if you want to dive deep into all this. I actually do have an in-depth video. That's a little commercial thing right there. And then here's an in-depth video of exactly what all these little things mean. But you get all of these kinds of forms, all these training forms, and then you get access to the Cleaning Tech Bootcamp, which we'll touch on here in just a second. You'll get all the printables with the training program. You'll get the owner growth video library, which is tons of videos that are just for you as the owner to basically level up your entrepreneurial skills and all of that. You'll get the preferred employer program, which kind of sets you apart from other cleaning businesses and says like, hey, we're the best place to work. In the second level, in the mid-level, you'll also have all the exam access. So it automatically scores the trainees after the course is over and they go through and they take the test. It automatically scores them. It lets you know how good they did. And then you'll get partner discounts as well. So we have a bunch of partners, and I'll scroll down. There's a bunch of frequently asked questions on here, by the way, so feel free to go through those. Here we go. So this is our partner network. So all of these companies are vetted and used by myself or other members on the rescue team. We're all maid service owner. Most of us are maid service owners, and we use these people. So like we love the aprons from Supply Maid. So it comes with a huge discount to that. Obviously we love ClickUp. We love Zen Maid. We love Quality Driven. Nice Job is amazing. I mean, all these places are awesome. They all have provided really awesome discounts and codes for our CBN members. So if you're in the second or third level, you'll also get access to all of this, which is fantastic. Let's see what else. And then the support server is in the higher level. So if you want like a genuine place where you can go and like build out all this stuff and ask all these questions, the whole team is in there if you want it. But most people are usually pretty comfortable in that middle one because they want the access to the exams and all of that. So this is our most popular plan. But let's go ahead and I'm just going to show you what Cleaning Tech Bootcamp looks like so that you can kind of see what I'm even talking about here. So this is just a sneak peek inside of the Cleaning Tech Bootcamp. This is the crown jewel of Cleaning Business Nation that you get in all three levels. And as you can see here on the left, it is broken down into different modules. So you get a huge manual with it that you can't, not huge, but pretty big. That will go through all of the Cleaning Tech Bootcamp modules and everything in black and white so that you can hand that out to your technicians if they're, that kind of a learner. But it goes through all of these different things here: core concepts, ethics, safety data sheets, room prep and workflow, scopes of service, work orders, deep clean, all of these things. Now, the great thing is about this course is that we did it in a way that it's not going to conflict with however you do training, because one of the main things we learned was everybody trains differently, right? So these cleaning courses out there are typically like, this is the way to do it and this is the way to train. Well, unfortunately, that doesn't work for everybody. So we wanted to make it in a way that you were able to adjust it based on how you do it. So that is what we did. It's very much recorded in a way that there's no way you don't do that, right? All of the things that we all do are in these videos. And then we have the owner supplemental stuff to go with the course that you get to fill in the blanks on the things that are different for you. We knew which things are different for people, and so we did it that way. So it's really a beautiful course. I'm so, so proud of what we came up with. It took us over a year to build, so we finally released it. Let me just kind of jump in and show you kind of a clip of one of the videos here. I'll show you the toilet. Everybody always wants to see the toilet one. I don't know why. Be sure to wipe the surfaces of the holder with a different cloth and put the decorative fold on it to finish out this area. The area that a toilet sits in and around it is commonly small. It is easy for dirt and debris to be redeposited during the course of cleaning. Be sure to take a look at the entire toilet and area around it when finished to ensure that it is cleaned to expectation. Okay, so that just kind of gives you an idea of how the videos look and everything. It is a subscription-based course. It does not matter how many cleaners you have. It's the same price no matter what. So I wanted to make sure it was affordable and it's not charged per cleaner or anything like that. And the great thing is if you take it and you hate it, which nobody has done that yet, but if you decide that no, it's not for you, just cancel it. It's just a subscription. There's no contract. So I think that's everything that I wanted to show you with Cleaning Tech Bootcamp, with Cleaning Business Nation, but definitely take a look and see if it's something that would work for your company. We've had amazing feedback so far. Everybody's loving it. They're printing out binders and they're making all these kits and stuff, which is really, really cool to see. So I personally cannot even imagine training without this now. It is completely necessary. So yeah, if you have any questions at all, make sure to email support@rescuemymaidservice.com, or you can just jump on our website right here, and I will move my little thing up, and you can jump in our support chat here on the bottom right, and we would be happy to answer any questions about it. And I guess that's a wrap for the 2022 Maid Summit. So make sure to get your free resources from this talk. If you guys have any questions at all, jump in the chat on my website, rescuemymaidservice.com, or simply email support@rescuemymaidservice.com. Thanks so much, and I hope you guys have a great rest of the year.